Saudi resists phasing out fossil fuels at COP, and Iran and Saudi negotiate direct flights. You're watching the Daily Brief with Forbes. I'm Ramia Faraj. At the COP28 climate talks, Saudi said its perspectives and concerns must be considered as it resists moves to agree to a phase out of fossil fuels. The Saudi representative said participants at the UN talks should think positive, address the reduction of emissions needed, but also take into account our perspectives and concerns. Saudi argues that it's impossible to disconnect oil from the global economy. Its energy minister has said he would absolutely not agree to a phase down. Riyadh won public support from Baghdad, with an Iraqi representative telling the summit it rejects any mention of a fossil fuel phase-out in a final deal at COP. The Iraqi side said phase down, phase out of fossil fuel, and phase out of fossil fuel subsidies are contrary to the principles of the Paris Agreement. Including a reference to the phase down or phase out of fossil fuels is a key sticking point as delegates compose a new agreement to curb global warming. Iran and Saudi will start formal talks next week to resume direct scheduled flights between Tehran and Riyadh and other cities, according to Iranian state-affiliated news agency ILNA. Regular flights would be another step towards restoring ties between the two rivals. A Chinese-mediated agreement in March restored diplomatic relations after years of tension. A bilateral working group will reportedly start final negotiations next week to have non-Hajj flights between the two countries. Saudi has launched a new sustainable food company called Topian in the planned futuristic city of Neom. Topian aims to revolutionize food production, distribution, and consumption. It will introduce sustainable and innovative solutions across 5 key pillars, including climate-proof agriculture, regenerative aquaculture, and sustainable food supply with a focus on ESG practices. Egyptians are voting in a presidential election which is set to hand Abdel Fattah al-Sisi a third term in power. It comes as Egypt grapples with an economic crisis and a war on its border with Gaza. If Sisi wins a new 6-year term, his immediate priorities would be taming near-record inflation, managing a chronic foreign currency shortage, and preventing spillover from the conflict between Israel and Hamas. Egypt's annual inflation rate dropped to 36.4% in November from 35.8% in October. U.S. chip giant Nvidia wants to set up a base in Vietnam to develop its semiconductor industry. Chairman and CEO Jensen Huang is visiting the country as it looks to boost investment in its growing semiconductor industry. Several chip giants have opened or expanded their activities in Vietnam. Global supply chain shocks and fears about the U.S. reliance on China for strategic resources are boosting investment in Vietnam's growing semiconductor industry. Macys department store is facing a buyout bid as investors Ark House Management and Brigade Capital have reportedly made a $5.8 billion offer to take it private. The investors already have a big stake in the store chain. Macys crushed forecasts for earnings over the latest quarter thanks to lower inventories and strong demand for beauty products. However, it's currently valued at just under $4.8 billion, meaning the bid comes at a premium of around 20%. And The Boy and the Heron, the latest movie by celebrated Japanese animator Hayao Miyazaki, topped the North American box office this weekend with an estimated take of $12.8 million. It's the highest opening weekend for a Studio Ghibli film. The film depicts the life of an 11-year-old boy, Mahito, who leaves Tokyo after the death of his mother in a fire to live with his father in the countryside. I'm Ramia Faraj. This is the Daily Brief. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.